Good morning, good morning, good morning. I love a Friday morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rich Wallace, and you have just joined an episode of Strictly Business, and I am going to be your host for the morning. So strap in, get ready, and we're ready to go. I'm going to take some glasses off so I can see you and you can see me. Uh, you have joined an episode of Strictly Business. We are on edgetvnetwork.net. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are here 3 mornings a week. Wednesday morning, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, and Friday morning. It's Friday, so I'm a little raffled. I got a lot of things going on, like all of us do, and I appreciate you taking the time this morning and signing up and being a part of an episode of Strictly Business. As you can see, we're playing golf behind me. That's on Juneteenth. That's at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. You can go to our website at blackchamberofcommerce.org and be a part of this fabulous event. This is our 28th year. So we're going to be at Brookside Country Club on Juneteenth, which is a Wednesday. I know you're off, and if you're not off, you're mad, so you might as well just come on out and play golf with us. If you're not a great golfer, this is the tournament you should play in. It's on our website at blackchamberofcommerce.org, so be a part of that event coming up. Also, we have our we're going to be honoring women on May the 11th in Riverside at Parkview Community Hospital. So it's going to be a great luncheon over there. So if you have it's a Saturday before Mother's Day. So as the kids are trying to get you out of the house so they can buy you a new car and come on out to the luncheon. And that way, when you get back, you'll be real excited about that great gift that they went out and purchased for you. So happy Mother's Day to those. We have our fashion show coming up in Palm Springs in October, which is going to be a part of our business summit. We're looking at doing it out in Palm Springs as well as in Long Beach. We may be from the desert to the sea this year on that conference. So stay tuned for that information. Thank you so much for being a part of us. We're going to take a short commercial break, and I'll be back with our guest for the morning. And I'm telling you, be excited about it, be ready about it, and because it is going to happen. Thank you so much. My name is Rich Wallace, and we will be right back.
Are you ready to change your life? Let us help you. At Youth Build Charter School, you can get a high school diploma and kickstart your dream career in no time. We offer high school diploma programs in construction, CNA, military, college, and entrepreneurship. If you are between the age of 16 and 24 and you want to manage your studies with a job, recover your credits, or graduate early, we can help you achieve your dream. Call us at 1-888-395-4408 or visit youthbuildinlandempire.org.
BuildInlandEmpire.org. It is part of our nonprofit organization, which is Youth Power Community Solutions, where we get young people a high school diploma. We also have some trade programs here, and we work with a lot of other programs within the Inland Empire area. So check us out online at youthbuildinlandempire.org, or you can link in from the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce website. We have a guest for you this morning, a doctor. So we're going to bring her right on right now and allow her to introduce herself and tell a little bit about how she can heal your mind, soul, maybe even your body. Good morning, doctor. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Wallace. It's so great to be up bright and early this Friday morning with you. I am great. How are you?
I am doing well. And you are a doctor of...
I'm a doctor of public policy. So, the best way that I could heal your mind, soul, and body is to write policy that will affect your well being in the community. So, my dissertation was around the impact of executive hiring on public service programs that support the homeless. So, I work on public policy and different laws and different regulations, and mainly I work as a human resources professional and I help organizations with their policies and best practices.
Okay, so now in the beginning, you would help us put together our employee manual book.
Exactly.
Okay.
I start organizations by looking at their current policies like employee handbooks, employee manuals. And as I'm going through that process, we may find out that you do not have any policies around how you hire, how you help people with benefits, or how you just manage your employees. So I have a background in human resources for over 25 years. I've worked for organizations like Fox Television, Live Nation, Cablevision, UPS. So I've worked for numerous Fortune 500 companies, making sure that they
How do you transition a 500 Fortune company into what a mom and pop business needs? Because a mom and pop business don't have an employee manual. They got two people working there, maybe it's three of them, and they're overworked, trying to move their business along. At the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce, where we have 32 members from the desert to the sea, most of them are small businesses dreaming to be bigger, you know, based upon what the SBA qualifies them as. Over, if they're over $500,000 a year, then they're considered a small business. But a lot of my businesses are barely at $100,000 a year. So how does that translate to help them be able to make their business grow or just fix it?
Yeah, so one of the things that stunts small businesses is not having a plan. So I'm first of all, I'm also a member of the Black Chamber of Commerce. I'm also a small business, and I'm constantly working on developing processes. Even though I develop processes for other people, I'm constantly challenged developing processes for myself. But we both know that in order to be successful as a small business, you need to have certain criteria and practices in place. Employee handbooks, for example, are perfect for an organization that has two or more employees, because in the handbook, you're going to talk about your mission, your vision, your values. Also, if you're looking for investors, or if you're looking for loans or grants, this handbook can help you tell the story to those investors, those banks that are looking to see that you're a stable organization. Also, one last thing I'll say about employee handbooks, which I'm really, convicted about. Um, Important to have an employee handbook because you want to show that you have some best practices in place. Also, you want to position yourself for growth. So as you start to build, you want to have an employee handbook that shows, how do you treat full-time employees? How do you treat part-time employees? And you may not have all of the answers. The good news is you can always update your employee handbooks. It can be updated every 6 months, every year, but it's a great place to start. And I've done employee handbooks for small businesses with as little as 2 employees.
A lot of the small businesses today are, and I don't want to say trying to get around certain things, but they have people on 1099s,
Right.
and they say, you know, you're 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 self-employed, but I need you to do this, this, and this. Uh, we have some people on our board this with the IRS. They go, no, 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 you can't do that. Where's the line go? Since and from a human resource standpoint, uh, I need you to work for me, but I don't want you to work for me.
Right. Well, the law is pretty clear. IRS regulations, as you mentioned, is very clear on what an independent contractor is. And the short version from our perspective is you really want to look at the job description. So it is based on the type of work that person does, if they have independent discretion, and if they're truly a contractor. So a true contractor, for example, has a contract. A true contractor works independently and probably works for other organizations and not just yours. So I often have a visual of a plumber. A plumber comes in and works for maybe hundreds of other homes, and they have that says Joe Plumber. So the IRS looks at things like that. Do you have your own business cards? Do you have your own website? And so if you're hiring your cousin and they're going to be the receptionist, and you're going to make them a contractor, most likely the work of a receptionist, the actual job title of a receptionist, would not be a contractor. So if you think about it, a receptionist, unless she has or he has multiple reception contracts where she goes from, or he goes from place to place and do reception work, then they're not a contractor. So it doesn't matter your size, you are still required to follow the IRS regulations of what an independent contractor is. And the one thing I really want to emphasize is it is these type of things that put small businesses out of business, because they will be fined. You will break the law. And this is what I do. And it's not the most fun conversations to have, but it's really evident a lot of times when I go into conversations that they're using contractors improperly.
Now, what is the basic difference between a contract and a MOU? I try to use the MOU thing saying, hey, this is our Miranda understanding that you're going to do this, this, and this. Now, you may have to use my computers, my ink pens, my tools to do it. Is that borderline? I mean, because this is how small businesses think. Okay, how can I do this without having to pay workers' comp and employee payroll taxes and insurance on them and all of those other things that have nothing to do with what I'm doing?
Right. Well, if the person is an employee, you cannot get around that, number one. And I always go back to like the very basics. A contract is just an agreement between two people. So you can agree to anything, and you can have a method of a MOU, a memorandum of understanding, but it doesn't circumvent the actual law. So whatever that is you're writing, and I'm not an attorney, but whatever it is that you're writing as a contract or MOU, it has to support the law itself. So you can't say you're going to be a contractor. However, I expect for you to come in the office from 9 a.m. p.m. and write your hours down every day. So now you're kind of pushing the envelope. You're saying, I want you to be a contractor, but I get this all the time. I want you to be a contractor, but I also want you to do timesheets. So those timesheets is an example of what the IRS would look for to prove that the person is an employee. So you can't have it both ways. And a lot of, if you are hiring someone who is an independent thinker, who is a consultant like myself, who can work on their own, you're not asking that person to do timesheets, and you're not paying them hourly. You're paying them based on a contractual agreement, probably a weekly agreement or a monthly retainer or something. So the bottom line is you can't get over it. Don't try. If they're employees, make them employees.
Okay, I'm still trying to get over. I got one more question. Okay, what is the difference between the commission only person? I bring you in, I tell you what we're selling, you get commission only. Now you can come into the office, and does that mean they can't use my phone? And what is there any because you're commission only, I'm on 1099 you based up on what you sold, but I'm going to maybe provide some leads or provide some materials to help you sell what you're selling. Is that?
Well, it's still simple. I mean, it's probably simple to me, but the bottom line is there's two pieces here. Are they employees or are they contractors? So when you hired the salesperson to be commission only, is this a sales job they do for other people, or is this a sales job they do just for you? If they're doing it just for you and you're giving them direction, then they are an employee. Most likely they will not pass the independent contractor test, and they are an employee. Now, the second piece that people get confused, which it sounds like you're kind of mixing up the two, is this exemption and non-exempt status. So exempt people are exempt from overtime. And there are regulations around exemption and non-exemption. The IRS has specific commission-based sales exemption. So they would be an employee, however, they will be exempt from overtime, and they can be classified as commission-only sales exempt employees. But if they're contractors, you shouldn't even be having that conversation on whether they're non-exempt or exempt, because they're contractors. So the number one thing is, number one, are they employees or are they contractors? If they're contractors, they've negotiated their commission. So you're not paying them commission based. It kind of doesn't even match. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, so I'm not trying to get around anymore.
You better go fix some things today or hire me, because it sounds like my red flags If my red flags go up, the IRS red flags go up. So that's
And
what
and your business is what so many small businesses need.
I agree.
We had a bank that gave us $80,000, and they
Yes,
said to the Black Chamber, listen, we want you to give this out in $5,000 increments, but the
okay,
business has to have a tax ID, they had to have an employee manual, and they had to be 1 year old. That was it. They didn't have no credit, none of this. If you were a year old, but it had to be in a certain zip code because they were doing something for that particular area.
right.
And in that zip code, we searched and found a lot of Black businesses, but none of them had all three items.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm sad. This is why I do what I do. And most of my clients are owned by people of color. And I want us to be successful. And honestly, I could have written a handbook for those businesses in less than a week, most likely, especially if they're small businesses. It's really just making sure your manual covers the federal and state laws. And a lot of that is boilerplate information, around overtime, around holidays, basic things like that. And it's a template for that. So I would walk you and those clients through a template. And I'm hoping that they're listening. And I have those available today. So that's what my team does. I have a team of 5 people, give or take, at any given time. And I struggle with the same things that every small business owner struggles with. How do I make sure I have employees or contractors? How do I pay my taxes? So I have a lot of compassion and patience with small business owners, especially Black-owned business owners.
Okay, we're going to take a short break. I got some questions about the new minimum wage change that just came on.
Okay, I'll try to answer.
One of the secrets to exposure for your business lies within supporting Black businesses and entrepreneurs. And that is why the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce is here to connect Black businesses from the desert to the sea. Let's join hands to empower and sustain our community. By becoming a member of the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce, you can grow your business and increase your clientele. With our innovation, we'll generate new businesses and get new customers. And we'll connect new mindsets with businesses from across Southern California to help bridge the wealth gap. Let's connect, build, and grow together. Join us now at blackchamberofcommerce.org.
So if you're not already a member of the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce, go to our website. It's only a couple $100 a year. And for that, you belong to all 15 chapters from the desert to the sea. And a great opportunity to get on our show called Strictly Business here on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday mornings at 7 a.m. Thank you so much for being a part of this. There's 5 people that asked me how to correctly pronounce your name.
It's like relay. So I'm named after my mother, who's named Fiola, and my name is Philae.
Because I think I messed it up twice. So okay.
I think you did okay.
All right. Minimum wage, fast food, $20 an hour. I owned at one point 7 restaurants across the state of Texas.
Wow.
They were called Grandy. I was a franchise owner of 7 Grandies, and I had four restaurants of my own and a little corner store.
Nice.
I could not afford to pay people $20 an hour. I dread that now for the small business person that has that. So how does a small business person, because it used to be that if I came in to work, I had to work a certain number of hours, even if you had no business. Is there a rule for the owner of the business? If you come to work, I'm just going to work you for an hour and a half or 2 hours now. Did that law that guarantees them $20 an hour on a minimum wage job guarantee them a certain number of hours a month or a week or something?
I'm not aware of any law that requires that the person has to work a certain amount of hours. Again, it goes back to the employee relation, the employment agreement. When you hire that employee, if that employee promise in that agreement that they have a certain amount of hours, but I'm not aware of a certain amount of hours that you have to work. I think that's really a great point, though. It is up to the owners to manage their employees and manage those hours. So you, as an owner, let's say you still continue to own these multiple restaurants, it is so crucial that you are managing the hours of those employees and to make sure that you stay within your budget. It is challenging. And I literally was watching an owner of a ice cream parlor that was struggling with the recent increase of the minimum wage, $20 an hour. And it was just pretty clear that they were going to have to pass on some of that, the increase in minimum wage to their customers. The ice cream would be more expensive. May be certain things the customer will have to pay more for in order to pay for the increasing operation costs. But the reality is, it's a business just like any other business. Operation costs fluctuate and payroll costs fluctuate. And so you have to manage to that. I mean, I'm not, I do have an MBA, I have a master's in business. However, you just need to look at where maybe you have too many employees. Maybe you need to do an assessment. Are those employees doing the right job? Do you have 10 of your cousins working there when you only needed 5?
Yeah, that managing your employees is a tough thing. Managing the
Right.
schedule time. We at our school here at our youth build program, we have a business class, and
Okay.
we start the young people off when they come to the business class. We tell them, okay, you'll be able to open up a business this year, and we
Mhm.
want you to pick the business, whatever it is, and then we're going to go through the building of the structure and how many employees you need, and look for a building. We make them go to the IRS website and look at how to do a tax ID number, what the purpose is. We go through all of those little bitty steps behind. And the young people here, because we're in a certain area, their business is either a liquor store or some type of entertainment business that's outside of the box.
Mhm.
But when they look at what it costs to operate that business and what a liquor license costs and what the cost is for an employee cost, they didn't realize how expensive it is to have them there. But when they got back into the workforce, they understood a little bit more about how to be a better employee. Once they realize on the other side of the fence, I got to pay this person $15 an hour, and they ain't wiped one table in the whole hour,
Right.
or they've been on the phone the last 20, 30 minutes.
Exactly.
So do you teach the business owner
Yeah.
how to manage his employees or the structure of these
Yeah.
type of things? Is that part of your program?
That is a big part. So basically, I am a human resources office. I'm a portable HR office. I serve and support businesses as their HR department. So I handle everything from hire to retire. I'm also a licensed broker, and I help small businesses get medical, dental, vision benefits. I'm licensed with Cal Choice, Aflac, Colonial Life. But I also have spent most of my 25-year career doing employee relations and performance management. So I spent I started doing recruiting. So I do recruiting, I do executive recruiting. Me and my team, we do diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy. So everything I do is with an equity lens. So my goal when I started my business was to take every single thing I learned from Fortune 500 companies and give them back to my community, Black-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses. So yes, I do every single thing in human resources person. I'm a portable HR office. I also help some companies set up their nonprofits. I'm working with one organization and I'm helping them set up a foundation because, again, I write policy and I'm a writer. So I recently wrote a book, it's nearby somewhere, called The Diversity Dilemma. And I do speaking engagements around equity and inclusion. So, yeah, it's a lot, but I do a lot. And I do a lot for multiple companies. But I kind of do it in my sleep because I've been doing it for so long. But yes, yes, and yes. And so going back to your example, I would look at management. I'm really a strong advocate on attitude reflecting leadership and understanding so for that person who is paying someone $20 an hour to clean tables, is the person actually cleaning tables? If they're not cleaning tables, what is it about your leadership, or what is it about your training program that is preventing them from cleaning tables correctly? Maybe you have the wrong person in place. Maybe you've never taught them how to clean tables. Maybe you don't communicate with that employee, and they do not have an expectation to clean the tables. And so you look at, what is your process? Are you training people how to be, productive in the workplace, or are you just putting bodies out, putting bodies in place and not training them, not communicating? And that's honestly, Rich, what I find is we hire people and then we don't talk to them anymore. We don't give them any expectations. We don't give them any guidelines. And then you expect for them to be strong performers, and they really are just, winging
What
it.
you've done in my mind, and you've taken it back to leadership. So it's about
Exactly.
how you lead your staff or how you lead your employees, which if something is not, and this is kind of how I look at things, if something is not functioning a certain way, I look at, okay, what am I doing to keep it from doing what it's supposed to be doing? So it must, because the buck stops here. So it must be something that I'm doing. And I glitched this morning. So I thought, okay, how is it that I not know how to do this link thing, and why is it that this was not sent over to where it was supposed to be sent? So when our process on Monday and we deprogram what happened on Strictly Business, okay, tell me the process of how a person gets the link, because I don't know, and as a business owner or a supervisor, sometimes it's difficult to know everything.
Yeah.
Or every personality or all of these different things, because I found that after having over 100 employees, knowing them wasn't a good idea. Not knowing them was not a good idea either.
Right.
So it's a really juggling act, and without a human resource person, which is a person that's not necessarily bringing in income, but it's stopping income from going out, which
Exactly.
is a big deal. And a lot of small businesses don't figure that out till it's so late
Yeah.
in it. How would I, talking to small businesses as I do, how do I convince them that they absolutely need a handbook? And we've been talking about, I've been doing this for over 30 years. So it's the same speech every year, maybe a different age, a group of people, a different group of people. But most businesses that start, minority businesses, started because they lost their job. They didn't have a master business plan. They didn't have a bunch of money set aside. They lost their job and they realized, listen, I can bake cakes. And next thing you know, they got a retail location and they got all of this going on, and people are buying cakes, but they don't know anything about the other side of the business.
Right.
And I
Well,
don't need you to tell me, because I'm doing pretty good at selling my cakes,
exactly.
So how is it that you can say to them that there's going to be my folks own the restaurants and never had a lawyer, never had a human resource person, actually never
Mm-hmm.
had a menu, because they look in the freezer and they go, hey, this is what we're cooking today,
Right.
but the line was always wrapped around the corner.
Right. Well, imagine how many other lines they could have wrapped around the corner, how they could expand that same model around the country, around the globe. If only we, as minority business owners, Black business owners, would stop to, like you said, to look at your process. Now we have to stop and pause, look at our process, put systems in place. You can duplicate yourself. You can grow. Paying someone $20 an hour wouldn't be a problem, because you would have systems in place that can be duplicated. That way you can grow exponentially. So how do we teach people this? I don't know. I teach it by being an example, number one. But the process of having a human resources person is really just building your foundation. A house is only as strong as its foundation. And if you have a weak foundation in your business, it is going to crumble. You are going to get a claim. You are going to get sued, because people are going to say you treated them as an employee and now they're owed benefits. The IRS will find you. Like it's only a matter of time. So you won't be able to hire new people because you don't have a training process. You don't know how to teach them how to go in the refrigerator and make your special recipe because it's not written down anywhere. So I don't know what else to say, but you just need to have things written down. You need to have a process. And that's really what HR is about. It's about using your resources wisely. People, of course, people hate HR. We have a bad rap. I get it. I hate HR sometimes. I hate doing HR sometimes. But the reality is we need to know what the state and federal laws are to protect your business. I mean, this goes all the way back to civil rights and understanding our rights. And this is why, as people of color, sometimes we're not successful because we don't understand how the law can work for us. And unfortunately, we learn how the law works against us when we don't have our ducks in a row.
So now, can a small business put you on like a retainer of some kind? I don't need it every day. I just kind of need to call you up and say, hey, what's happening?
That's it. That's my business model. That you hit the nail on the head. Yes. I work at different levels. I have a crawl pace, a walk pace, and a run pace. And yes. And so they're all priced differently. I definitely look at, nonprofits and small business and try to come and, work with them within their budget. They may just need a handbook for that month. And then next month we'll look at job descriptions and, then I have larger organizations who pay me on a retainer to do larger projects. And yes, I am positioned myself and my team so that they can support all size businesses. And I would start with an HR audit and look at the gaps in your process. And then a lot of what we'll do is really just maintenance and keeping, your employee handbook. And then there's lots of, I'll be honest, there's lots of software, lots of other companies that I would recommend. Like, for example, you have those ADP and Paychecks where there's certain HR consulting that comes with some of these packages. And so I would help an organization make sure, because a lot of these organizations, including yours and others, they have these Paychecks and Paylocity, and I'm not selling any of that. I'm not. Trust me. I actually used to work for Paychecks as an HR business consultant. However, you have things in place that you're not using. So let's say you have Gusto. A lot of times a business owner may have Gusto or one of these HRIS systems. They just don't know how to use it. And so they're not even using it right. They're paying hundreds of dollars a month and they're not even using the product right.
That is so true, is that the more the technology comes along, and I would say, I guess the older you get, the less of that technology you use, or you don't use it to its full capacity. I have the top Apple phone, but I just answer my phone. My granddaughter insisted that I get this phone, but I just answer the phone. And it does a little too much because people say, well, I sent you a message. Well, how did you send it? Or did you send it on Instagram, or did you send it over here? I'm looking for it. I can't find it. There's too many ways to get a message. Call me if you need to talk to me is my thing. So in with this technology move and the new AI and all of these different things that people have at their disposal, which one? I just got introduced to a new business card app thing. And when you people don't carry, I still carry, I have 4 different business cards, but this new thing, you put it in your phone. Code. And then it not only gives you my business card, it gives you my newsletter, and it gives you this and it gives you that. And I've been against that because people have walked up to me and said, hey, let me give you my business card, and they zap my phone. But if I don't remember your name, I can never find you in my phone. Because I don't remember your name. I need that piece of paper so I can thumb through it. They got a rubber band around them, and I go through them every other day or so. But it jogs my memory to work. So, and all I'm saying, all this is talking about the new technology that's available to us in the HR field. Do you train on that? Because when you mentioned that, the first thing came to my head is that, okay, but who has time for that?
Well, sir, we have to make time to be to make sure we stay up to date as business owners. There is absolutely no way we can't stay up to date with new technology. As you know, you've seen the companies Sears and Roebuck, and let's look at poor little Redbox who got left behind. Netflix came and took over, right? You, as a business owner, if you really want to be $1 million business owner, you have to stay up to date. And here's the thing, you can hire capable people that can do that for you. So I'm a big advocate of having an executive assistant. I actually have 2 executive assistants. I have one that focuses on projects, and I have one that focuses on my calendar. They know how to do Canva. They know how to write copy with AI. And then I work with them. I meet with them once a week, and I learn things from them. So I'm Mr. Rich Wallace. I'm going to challenge you. When you're using those new software for, let's say, contact, they have the picture. And so you just like anything else you've done in your career, you've been very successful. You have to take time every day to teach yourself something. I don't care if you're a business owner or not. And so that's just something. I'm a professor, by the way, too. I teach at the University of West LA. So that is no. We are going to teach ourselves something new. Your brain, as long as you're here on this earth, you can learn something new. And I'm really excited about all the new things you're going to learn in your business. So,
You know, I'm excited as well, but I'm excited for all of the other people that surround me. So that's my speech, is that you can learn something new every day. We have a annual board meeting that's coming up on the 27th with all our presidents and our staff. And I kind of confuse a lot of people because we do a lot of different things. I mean, we own a print shop. We do our own printing, our own newsletters and magazines. And I've had this thing in my head. I'm kind of the think ship, and I just kind of find people to do stuff. I'm part owner of Black Meetings and Tourism Travel magazine, but that magazine is basically for the industry people. So I've been working with Lee Bailey and some other people, and we're putting together a Black travel entertainment magazine. And I'm pretty much not the writer magazine person, but I'm the advertising sales person.
right.
So I ran newspapers for a lot of years. So I deal with the whole aspect of advertising. So we're putting this whole thing together. At the same time, we're putting together, you remember the Penny Saver?
I surely do.
I was a director at the Penny Saver. So we're going after the low-hanging fruit with another direct mail project at the same time that I'm running the chambers. We have the charter school. I still got one store. So we have a lot of different things happening at one time. And everybody says and I try to tell other minority business owners, because when I do these things across the state and I said, what kind of business you're in? Almost 9 out of 10 Black people go, well, I got 5, 6 things I do. You know, I do this, I do this, I do this, and I do that. And I teach, don't tell people all you do, because that looks like you're doing too much and you can't focus on what I want. And it's really, I'm only concerned with about what I want. The fact that you sell cars and houses and all of this, I need a paint job. You know, you say you're a painter, but you're telling me all of the great things that you do. I just really need you to come over and paint. So sometimes the guy with the watch at the bus station is too much for business people. So I tell people to tone down yourself and get it together. But as talking to you about my HR end of my thing, I'm all off balance, and I know better.
Well, don't be so hard on yourself. As you were talking to me, I'm very much like you, a visionary. I am very, I've taken numerous personality assessments, and that planning and analytical piece, that is low on the elevator for me. And so I hire people who can see the big picture and then make it clear. So for you, when I was listening, you connect people through media. You're a connector. And that encompasses everything that you mentioned that you do. For me, I connect corporations to communities. I connect businesses and make businesses HR simple for businesses. So that's how I describe what I do. So I try to just have kind of a one-liner that encompasses my brand. But what I wanted to just leave you with and the audience with, one of the tools that I've learned is we really should have this chief operating officer, that person who knows everything you do, who can look at it from a 10,000 foot view and figure out how they can encompass everything you do into one business. And it is possible, and you may already be doing that, so please forgive me if you are. But that's the type of stuff that I'm working on, and that's what I work on with my clients. Like, how do we connect the dots? How do we make sure? So I have I have Thiele Thatch Consulting, but under that I have Mrs. HR in a Box software. So my product is called Mrs. HR, and that's based on like I'm the superhero, Mrs. HR, who comes and saves the day. And so I have this software. I have Mrs. HR Jobs. I have Mrs. HR. Goodness, was a third one. I have Mrs. HR something. I forgot. So I have that. Then I have the books. I have a publishing company for authors. I have a foundation called the Time to Dream Foundation, which helps entrepreneurs, particularly young, minority, Black, and people of color, entrepreneurs. So I'm just like you. I have tons of things. I typically focus on the things that make money. So Thiele Thatch Consulting is what makes money. And then I, everything
It
else.
was your passion.
Right. Right. That helps me pay for the things I'm really passionate about. And so, it's just, to me, it's just embracing all of those things. If you look at, the Jeff Bezos and Howard Schultz, who owns Starbucks, they don't limit themselves to just making coffee. They have many, many, many other parts. Look at Amazon and all the different, pieces.
Used to be a bookstore. Yeah.
Right. It used to be a bookstore. And I'm sure people laughed at him like, well, who's going to buy your books online? That makes no sense. But I just want to encourage you, me, and the people listening, stay focused on your dream and your vision. Hire people that can help you, because that investment in people, first of all, you're investing in someone, but it also is going to be an investment in your business. And you cannot do this business alone. There's absolutely no way.
Way you can do it alone. Well, I think you planted some good seed in the folks this morning. Definitely got me wrapped up here. So now we publish a newsletter. Here's where I'm going to ask for some commitment stuff. We publish a newsletter once a month.
Yes, sir.
And if I could have an article on HR, how important HR is, or just tidbits every month, and be your column, kind of thing. And we push that, because what it's about small businesses getting the information. Yes. And unfortunately, us as the people, you kind of got to shove it down, twist it around and put the smell of chicken on top of it, or whatever you got to do to get them to get it, and if they start getting it, I believe that people, sometimes we give and people go, oh, you're doing this. And I say, you know what? It always comes back. It always comes back. We have a campus here in San Bernardino where we have our school. We have our TV production here in San Bernardino. We're filming some stuff. We're putting together a talk show. I want to talk to you about that. We have our own network here in San Bernardino. We built out a studio. We've got a 3,000 square foot TV network studio. We put in a podcast station so that young people could do podcasts. And we have our own print shop here, so that if we need to print banners and signs and do this kind of thing. So we don't really do any outside printing. So I'm not taking printing from any of our members, but we have all the printing equipment. We use it for education to print the stuff that we need. So if a small business comes to me and they go, Rich, I need 2,000 flyers and, I need them tomorrow and these people are going to charge me this. Okay, you know what, we'll do what we can to help out in those areas. But we have printers that are members that we send printing business to. So the fact that we bought we got a machine here that does books, glue bound book. I mean, it'll do a book up to 300 pages, glue it, print it, fold it, all of that, with one push of the button. All you need is the artwork and press the button and it'll print the book. The banner, the cover can be harder, thicker cover, and the insides get
Wow.
pages. We put out our newsletter every month. We print it here. This is what I was talking to you about, the travel entertainment
Yeah.
magazine. And a nationwide thing with that. And we need people, entrepreneurs, that are going to come along and say, hey, you know what? Give me a piece of that. Let me do
Yeah.
this. Let me do that. Because if we make it successful with this part, you know, we
Yes.
can be successful with the part that you have in a different direction. I got a lot of Asian friends from the Asian Business Association.
Mhm.
We have lunch together once a month, and we talk about different business aspects. And the difference between that nationality and our and ours, for most part, is that they bind together at
Right.
a certain part, and they don't let funding separate them. uh,
Right.
because they've already bonded to the fact that we're going to build this thing up so big that it's not going to matter for me to take this part and go over here with it, and then we're going to build this up. I used to work for a shoe company. It was called Edison Brothers. They own Leeds, Burt's, Baker's, Chandler's, Wild Pair, and 5-7 stores, 579, 578 stores, or whatever they called them.
Mhm.
But downtown Los Angeles on Broadway, they had a Burt's, they had a Baker's, they had a Leeds, they had a Wild Pair, all right next to each other. It's the same company. It was actually the same shoe. The ladies would buy. It was the same shoe in each store, just had a different brand on it. So they were their own competition
Wow.
in the
Amazing.
mall. Yeah, amazing. The Leeds and the malls and the Burt's and the Bakers and the Wild Pair and the Gene West, they were all the same people,
I love
and I
it.
thought
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
pretty genius. So
Yes.
yeah, so but that's what we need to do, is that we're all the same people. We just need to figure out a way to say, okay, this is what I can bring to the table. You mentioned, hey,
Exactly.
I'm an author. You have a book company. You have people that want to write books,
Yeah.
and I run into so many people that have books on Amazon and they don't have one in the trunk of the car.
Right.
And I say, listen, come over here at this shop, print 50 of your books, and then you can sell your books on the spot.
Right.
If I go to Amazon, I'm not going to be looking for your book. I'm going to get me a
That's
shirt or a hat or something else.
Well, I have to say, I was number 28 on Amazon in my category, but I started my book launch at Malik Books in Culver City. I have to give them a shout out. Really supporting independent authors. And so part of my book tour is at Black owned bookstores. I'm on my way to the Reparation Club for my next book signing. And I'm also working on Octavia's Garden in Pasadena. So just yes, yes, and yes. I say yes to it all. I am a writer. I write for Upscale Magazine now. I have a Legends column that I do for them. And ultimately, everything I always wanted to do was write. So HR was the thing that paid the bills. But I'm a writer. And I started my career at Fox Television, where I did stand up. I was a field producer, producing stories. I worked with so funny Don Lemon and I were interns together. And so I had wanted to be a reporter and journalist. And so, yes, 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 put me in the studio, put me on the column. I think there's a lot of synergy here that we could talk about here and offline. But
Yes, I think so.
I just do whatever I need to do to educate my people. I love Black people. I love Black women, particularly. I tell people all the time I have a bias for Black women in helping them because I needed help as a Black woman, as a business owner, as a mom, as a wife. I have 3 adult children, I have a grandson. And so, this is my legacy, and I'm here for every single thing you mentioned. So just let me know. Let me know when my articles due. Let me know when I need to be at the studio.
I will get that together. Now, which
Yeah.
mixer do you attend? Do you come out to our mixer networks?
I
Do you?
haven't been to a mixer yet because every time I had an engagement, but
And what city are you in?
I am in Van Nuys. I'm in the Valley.
In the Valley.
And
Okay.
so I'm in Long Beach. I missed that one. So my goal is to get to a mixer.
Okay. So it was so great to have you. I
Thank you.
appreciate your time this morning, coming out, spending time with us, and getting us. So now, how do the people contact you? And Imani is my person that handles this, and I know she has all your contact information.
Good.
I will follow up with her to make sure that we get you on a regular schedule, and maybe when I'm can't get my show going, I'll holler at you and you can do the show and and all of that. So
Sounds like
yeah, we try to get our people out to connect with other things. We sit on
okay.
the board of Caltrans and Metrolink and the High Speed
Oh,
Rail and
wonderful.
all of these different boards. And as you well know, they have these meetings. It's necessary to be in the room, but it's an hour, it's 2 hours, it's over here, it's over there. So I
Right.
make as many of those as possible. I swing through the city council meetings. I don't stay. It's necessary for the city council people to know who we are. I don't know them, but they know the chamber. So when a voice comes up that I'm with the Black Chamber of Commerce, their ears light up, like a Doberman Pinscher. Okay, let me listen to find out what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So, and we work with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and most of the Asian Businesses Association. I'm at a dinner with the Greater African American Chamber next Friday at GLAC up in LA.
Yes, Angela.
Yeah.
I'm very close with Angela.
Angela, okay. Are you coming to the dinner?
I may not be at the dinner, but I typically support GLAC and I make sure my clients join also. So I just recently, because of the chamber involvement, I recently was certified by the Buy Black, BUY Black. Yeah, so I just received that certification. I'll be posted all over my social media. But yeah, I want to get involved in as much as I can. I'm here. And the best way to reach me you know how to reach me, but the cool thing about my name is unique. So it's THELA and then Thatch. And if you Google it, or my website is thelathatch.com. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I have a pretty strong following on LinkedIn, over 7,000 followers with, HR. I do free HR tips called through my social media called Ask Mrs. HR, just so you know.
Okay.
So it's called Ask, ASK, Mrs. HR. And I'm trying to build that area of my business where employees can confidentially come and ask a question. So if you ask a question, what I do is I answer it on social media, but I do it anonymously. And honestly, that's how my business started. I started getting all of these questions and I couldn't answer it because I was working for a corporation that they wouldn't let me, answer questions a certain way. And so I started Ask Mrs. HR. And anyhow, so if you have a question,
how to use that. We should figure out how to use that on our website and other things that we do. So when people come, and I'm not asking for any of that except for they click to you and you answer an HR question. So here's my goal with the Black Chamber of Commerce. We need to be the information resource center for Black businesses.
Yeah.
So if I have a button that says Ask HR someplace on my website that they can click and go and ask you questions, that's a plus for us.
Okay.
I can tell people all around, listen, if you got some HR questions, go here. Now we are cozy up with what do they call it? JustWorks. JustWorks is a payroll company like ADP, that kind of thing. Yeah. They're one of my biggest sponsors out of New York. And Kevin and those guys. So I'd love to hook you up with them if you don't know those guys. Kevin and them have a program that he's coming back to California to announce, where if you do payroll service with them, they give you a $6,000 grant. Yeah. And the grant is cash money, supposedly. We've got a few people that have signed up, but once you have to do, I think you have to cycle at least 3 payrolls through their system, and then they give you this grant money for $6,000. So they're promoting that all over the United States. But they're strong in New York. They're trying to build an infrastructure here in the Los Angeles, California market, and they've come to us to kind of help out. So with that, so I wanted to be sure I tap you into him. But if we had something on that was attached to us and said, if you're looking to answer, ask HR questions, click here. I can tell people, because people tell me, well, what about this or what about that? I said, well, we can go to my website. We got a button right there. You can click it and you can ask your questions, So
I love it. Well, I'm down for all of that, and I appreciate it so much that you consider even partnering with me. I always like to say I am the best.
And I say the same. So I need to be with the best.
That's right. Well,
Okay.
I take everything. I've gone to, leadership and HR trainings and that all around the country and through the different Fortune 500 companies I work for. So I like to remind people that I'm taking the very best of what I learned from different Fortune 500 corporations and I'm sharing it with small business owners. These are the things that I learned at Live Nation Entertainment, where I was the regional HR manager. I was at Cablevision as the HR administrator. I've worked for UPS in the occupational health and safety department. Like I've learned safety. I used to teach people how to drive forklifts. Okay. So I mean, I have done pretty much
I
every
worked for
single
OSHA for a
thing.
while. I did the OSHA inspections at warehouse.
Yeah. Right. So all of these things we have that now we're able to give back and share. And that's all it's about.
Well, thank you again for coming out. And which actress do people say you look like? Because you
Sanaya
photo.
Lathan.
That's
Sanaya Lathan and Felicia Rashad. And I'll take them both. I will thank you and thank you.
all righty. All right. Enjoy your weekend, and we will talk to you next week. And I'll get you on that calendar pretty soon with that article. Thank you again for coming out and spending
Yes.
time with
Thank
Strictly
you for
Business.
having me. What a wonderful discussion. I can't wait to continue our partnership.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good news for the Southern California business community. Now you can add your business to the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce Business Directory complimentary. We have been working tirelessly to build a list of Black-owned enterprises in Southern California. This is an excellent way for you to be a part of an expansive network and find your ideal customers, business partners, and vendors. So don't waste time. Visit blackchamberofcommerce.org today and add your business today.
Business owners are raving about the new talk show, Strictly Business, with host Rich Wallace. Tune in as the top experts in business share their success stories, strategies, guidance, and advice to help you grow your business. With guests from the top companies to your favorite influencers, Strictly Business with host Rich Wallace is the show to watch for all things business. Our conversations are strictly business. We discuss new funding options, new business initiatives, best business practices, all things business explained. We provide you with the tips you need for your business, all in one morning business talk show. Be sure to tune in. Are you a business owner? Do you have a story to share? Are you able to help our audience? Then we want you on Strictly Business with host Rich Wallace. Visit the website at edgetvnetwork.net and select Be a Guest to schedule your appearance today.
And thank you for your appearances. If you have not been on our show yet, you got to get on this show. Go to our website at edgetvnetwork.net. Go down to Strictly Business. Click on that. Schedule yourself to be on our show. We're on 3 days a week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday morning at 7 a.m. We have our celebrity golf tournament coming up Juneteenth. That's at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, Brookside Country Club. Come out and hang with us. We got some live entertainment. You are not going to believe these people that are coming out to sing and celebrate Juneteenth at the Rose Bowl on a Wednesday on Juneteenth. So come out and be a part of that. Be a part of our upcoming conference. Our summit is looking to be out in Palm Springs in October, maybe even in Long Beach. We will go probably from the desert to the sea and make that happen. So check us out online at Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce.org. Let's make this happen. Be a part of the movement. Our membership is $200 a year. Go to our website, sign up as a new member, get all of the great benefits that we have available. We have this great fashion show coming up in October out in Palm Springs. Opportunity, network, connect the dots. Be a part of Strictly Business. Be a part of the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce, from the desert to the sea. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.